Hello everybody, this is Julie's story time, and today we have a very special story, and Boppo and I are going to tell it. But first of all, Boppo's had to take his jumper off today because it's a really hot day today, and he's a lot more comfortable without his jumper on. This is his jumper. So Boppo is going to sit here quietly, coolly. Today's very special story is called Baba Yaga, an age-old Russian fairy tale. And it's beautifully retold and illustrated by a friend of mine called Eleanor Orlet. Now, this story is sometimes called Vasilisa's Doll, and as you go through the story, you'll find out why. So here is the story of Baba Yaga, or Vasilisa's Doll. Once upon a time, there was a family where the mother was so ill, sadly she lay dying. She called her daughter Vasilisa to her and said, "Vasilisa, here is a very special gift I have made for you. I have made you this magic special doll. Now, if you are feeling sad, very lost or lonely, or you don't know what to do, ask your doll what to do and she will tell you. Put her in your pocket. Don't tell anybody about her. Feed her and make sure you keep her always, and she will help you." And with that, sadly, Vasilisa's mother passed away. Now, sometime in the future, Vasilisa's father married again. She unfortunately had two rather mean-hearted, cruel daughters who really disliked Vasilisa and were very jealous of her, because Vasilisa was kind and good and these daughters were not. They actually plotted and schemed how to get rid of Vasilisa once and for all. So they let the fire go out. Now, in those days, in Russia, where this story is originally from, to let the fire go out was really a way to say you can't cook, you can't eat, and you die. So it was quite serious to let the fire go out. They said, "Vasilisa, you silly girl, you have let the fire go out." But actually it wasn't her fault. And they said to her, "You must go to Baba Yaga's house in the forest and fetch a live coal and bring it back and relight the fire." So Vasilisa had to set off into the forest to find Baba Yaga's house. And it got darker and darker and colder and colder. And Vasilisa got more and more frightened and scared. But she felt for the little doll in her pocket and felt much better when she knew she was there. And so when the path forked in two and Vasilisa did not know which one to take, she asked the doll, and the doll told her which way to go. So she kept going, and the doll helping her all the way. At last she came to a clearing in the wood, and there in the middle was this extremely strange looking house, and it was standing on sticks which actually looked like chicken legs, and all around it was a fence with skulls as fence posts all around it. because Baba Yaga ate children she didn't like. So Vasilisa consulted her doll again, and the doll gave her reassurance, and she walked right up to the fence and opened the gate and went in, and she knocked loudly on Baba Yaga's house. And Baba Yaga said, "Who is there, and who are you, and why have you come?" in a very fierce voice. But Vasilisa was quite calm and again felt for her doll, and the doll told her what to say. And Vasilisa said, "My name is Vasilisa, and I have come for fire, because my family's fire has gone out, and I must bring back a coal to relight it, otherwise they might die." And Baba Yaga said in an even louder voice, "What makes you think I'm going to give you one of my coals to take back to your family?" So Vasilisa consulted the doll again and said, "What shall I say?" And the doll told her what to say. And Vasilisa said very simply, "Because I ask." Now Baba Yaga was quite surprised at Vasilisa's answer, and she said, "Well, that is the right answer, and because that is the right answer, I shall allow you to come into my house. But I have to set you 3 tasks." Baba Yaga's house was incredibly messy and dirty, so the first task was that Vasilisa had to tidy up the house and clean it and cook a meal. And Baba Yaga said, "And if you don't do this, when I get back, I shall eat you up." So Vasilisa consulted her doll again, and the doll said, "Don't you worry. All you have to do is stay calm and just do one thing at a time." So Vasilisa stayed calm, tidied the whole house, and cleaned it from top to bottom, found wonderful ingredients for the meal, and cooked a beautiful, delicious meal for Baba Yaga. And when Baba Yaga got back, she ate it all up and just left scraps for Vasilisa. Now Vasilisa was tired and cold and hungry, but she gave some of the scraps to her doll. The next task that Vasilisa had to do was to go and find a great pile of corn, which some of it had gone moldy. And Baba Yaga said, "You see that pile of corn? Some of it is bad and moldy. You have to separate the good corn from the moldy corn." And she said, "If you don't do this task, by the time I get back, I shall eat you up." And then she flew away on her black cauldron. And poor Vasilisa again was very concerned and worried and said, "I'll never do this. This is far too difficult." So she consulted the doll in her pocket again, and the doll said, "Now don't you worry. All you have to do is stay calm, have a good sleep, and by the time you wake up, all the corn will be separated." And that's exactly what Vasilisa did. She took the doll's advice, had a good sleep, and when she woke up, all the corn was separated. And when Baba Yaga got back, she was completely amazed at the job being done so well, and said, "Right, this is your final task, and if you don't do it, I shall eat you up." And the final task was that Vasilisa had a huge pile of washing to do. and it had to be washed and cleaned and sorted and pressed and made into lovely neat piles for Baba Yaga, all of her washing. And again, poor Vasilisa said, "I'll never do this, this is far too big." And she consulted the doll in her pocket again, and the doll said, "Now don't you worry, all you have to do is have something to eat, then have a long sleep, and by the time you wake up, all the washing will be done." So this is what she did, and by the time Baba Yaga got back, all the washing was neatly washed and folded and pressed and put into neat piles for Baba Yaga. "How did you do this so well?" asked Baba Yaga, somewhat surprised that she'd done all of this without murmuring or complaining. So Vasilisa said, "My mother taught me well." And Baba Yaga smiled a crooked smile and put a hot coal into one of the skulls and said, "Now you can go." And Vasilisa wasn't sure what to do, but the doll said, "Leave now, leave quickly, before Baba Yaga changes her mind." So that's what Vasilisa did. She quickly started her journey home with the fire. And here is the picture of Baba Yaga giving Vasilisa the skull with the live coal. So Vasilisa ran through the forest, finding her way back home, with the help of her doll, of course. But as she ran, she found the skull with the coal getting heavier and heavier, and it was harder and harder to hold, and the skull started to shine fiercely fire through its eyes, and Vasilisa was not happy carrying this skull through the wood, and she asked her doll what to do, but the doll said, "No, just stay calm, don't throw it away, you have worked very hard for this, you must keep going." And that's what Vasilisa did. She kept hold of it tight and kept going. So at last she reached home, and her father was overjoyed to see Vasilisa still alive and coming home, and even more amazed that she had this live coal in the skull to light the fire. But the two stepsisters and the stepmother were very upset and full of rage. So when Vasilisa threw the coal onto the fire, and the fire ignited and flared up this beautiful, lovely, warm blaze, so that they could cook again and keep warm. But the fire had a little bit of magic in it from Baba Yaga. And the two wicked stepsisters and the stepmother were so overwhelmed with rage that the fire started to burn their hearts. And they burned and burned and burned, and in the end all that was left was just black cinders of the wicked stepmother and the two wicked stepsisters. So in the end it all ended well, and as you know, all these fairy stories have wonderful meanings, and here is the last picture in the book from Eleanor Ollett. There she is throwing the live coal onto the fireplace that is going to ignite the fire again. So what is the meaning of the doll? Well, the real meaning of the doll is it is actually your inner voice. your intuition. And if we all paid attention to that, and that's what the story is about, that you feed the doll, you give it attention, you give your intuition attention, you listen to it, you pay attention, and it will guide you. It will guide you at times where you don't know what to do and you feel a little lost and lonely and frightened. Just listen to yourself, listen to your inner voice, listen to the doll, which is actually what it means. I do hope you've enjoyed that story. It is a wonderful story, and there are many, many, many layers of meanings in these old stories, and that is why they are so special, and they are for all ages and for all times, because they don't get old and die and date. They keep being new and relevant to our time. And there's also dolls, not just for girls, there are dolls for boys, so boys have their dolls as well, their intuition. So keep well, stay well, and I'll see you again. Goodbye.